Thanks, Kai. Pleasure to be on your show. Yes, so earlier today we announced the Corner Bay property, 7.2 million tons total, average grade of 3% copper and 0.27 grams per ton gold. This represents a 140% increase from our last resource that was done in 2019. Essentially, it incorporates the drilling from 2020 and 2021, say up to June. So we're very excited with such a significant increase. It really shows that at Corner Bay now we have a 10-year plus mine life. And keep in mind that the deposit is still open in a number of directions, and we've continued to drill the deposit since putting in the last hole for this resource statement. And we're very confident that the deposit's going to continue to grow.
So what are you doing now with the, like in terms of, like you're saying, continue to grow? What are you doing to expand it? Like, how are you following up now on this fantastic update?
Yeah, so there's an area which is between a deep lens and the main vein, which we've put in 4 additional drill holes that will successfully connect those 2 areas. And then in an area above the dike towards down plunge on the southern side of the deposit, it's also open in that direction, and we've had promising drill holes there. And then the deposit is also open down dip. One of the interesting things in this resource update is that the majority of the resource is in the main vein, but we do have resources 250 meters to the east and west of the main vein. And those structures also aren't fully drilled. And then further afield, say another 250 meters to the west, we do have historic intercepts on a structure there that has never really been followed up. And so we plan on doing that next year as well. So right now, I would say we have a very, very solid sight line on 8 million tons. And then we're very confident that we will see Corner Bay being a 10 million ton deposit. If we're able, and we should be able to keep that grade at 3%, makes it a very significant deposit. As you know, there's very, very few copper deposits that are such high grade, and having one in a very good mining jurisdiction like Quebec is an added bonus.
I've been to the area just recently, so it's only 50 kilometers from your mill, so the infrastructure is excellent as well. So you can actually make up for quite a bit when it comes to capex in that regard. Is that what the PEA is also going to reflect?
Correct. And so we've announced also we're doing the PEA with a company called BBA, which is a Montreal-based engineering company. They've done many studies of copper gold mines throughout the Americas and Canada. And when the PEA is going to be announced, say in early next year, in January of 2022, it should show a restart plan really focused on Corner Bay as the principal deposit. But then we have other deposits, and this is part of our hub and spoke strategy, where we have a number of deposits feeding the Copper Rand mill. Another deposit will be the Devlin deposit, which is located a little less than 10 kilometers away from Corner Bay. We essentially can start up Corner Bay and Devlin at the same time. There'll be a lot of synergies in doing so. The mineralogy is 100% compatible. Both of the deposits have the kind of high-grade, semi-massive sulfide that you can actually kind of see behind me on my screen background. And then after a few years of operation of Devlin, we would look to have the Joman deposit come into operation. Joman is a high-grade gold deposit. Historically, it produced 1.2 million ounces at a grade of 8.26 grams per ton. And part of our plans are to further drill and delineate that deposit as well. So you can see we have all the elements in place for a restart now. We have this anchor deposit at Corner Bay, which is showing a 12-year plus mine life. And then we have other satellite deposits that are smaller and which we can mine to complement the production coming from Corner Bay. We have a mill which needs to be refurbished. However, you've been to see it, and you see that it's a solid structure, the equipment's in place, and as a result, we can put this together with a very interesting mine plan. And if we are able to keep in a good copper price environment like we have now, the company should be free cash flowing $40 to $50 million a year in the future. And when you consider our market cap right now is only $50 million. you can see that the company represents
No,
tremendous
no,
value.
you answered like my next question to a degree already, because I was going to ask you for some input parameters for the PEA and like what the business model. You mentioned hub and spoke is going to be part of that business model. Like so some like yeah, you mentioned it actually, so I don't have to ask you, but maybe parameters like timeline. I could ask you timeline. Actually, is probably a good one for the PEA. You got the resource now. What else do you need to sort of get to that final PEA stage?
So we will be doing an update on the Devlin resource, which should be coming out in a couple of weeks. And with that together, we had a team of from BBA come to the site, and essentially we're working out a work plan for the rehabilitation of the mill. And then we'll also be working on the mine plans, the mining methods, and the detailed development schedule for the mine to see how quickly we can ramp up. Corner Bay has some really good characteristics to it as an ore deposit. It has a strike of, say, about 600-700 meters long, and it's very continuous, and the thicknesses are between 2 and 6 meters. So it really lends itself well to long hole open stope mining. And we'll be putting in that mine plan to determine what's the value of the ore deposit. One thing, curiously, which a lot of people have been asking is, now that you have this larger resource, how much can you run, how much could you pull out of Corner Bay per day? And that's a function of the size of the deposit, and it's gotten pretty big. It's also a function of the geometry of the deposit and what philosophy we are going to put towards doing some early development to get ahead of the game and then mining it out. And those are the things we're going to be really digging deeply into the PEA. Very fortunate for the company is that the metallurgy is really straightforward here. Corner Bay is coarse grain in most places, so metallurgical recoveries are anticipated to be over 94%. The grind size doesn't have to be anything very, very fine. And so we don't have any other impurities as well in the concentrate. So that's a very straightforward part of our business, actually, is the milling side and making the concentrate.
Yeah, it sounds like a pretty straightforward PA, but you're going to do it to PA level, or is it something like PFS level in terms of like the difference is, of course, the accuracy with the pricing and all of that. Like, how detailed are you approaching this?
Yeah, it is. It is a PEA, and most of it will be done to PEA level. Just the fact that we're using resources that are not indicated is a reason why you do a PEA. However, there will be some parts of the study that will be at a much higher level because everything's already built. It's not as if you're doing scoping and PEA level that you're kind of tentative on where you're going to put things and how you're going to construct things. The infrastructure's there already. So from that point of view, we're already well advanced. And we do intend on jumping right into a feasibility study right after finishing the PEA. And the feasibility study will then look into those aspects in much greater detail. And then, of course, we're going to do infill drilling on our deposits to ensure that all the resources are indicated that we want to include in the feasibility study.
So since I have I've got to nail you down now for the next step. So PEA, Devlin resource update. You mentioned the infill drilling. When do you think that is going to start? Ernie? Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, the infill drilling should start.
I think we can go.
Yeah, I think the infill drilling is going to start. It should start, I'd say, towards the end of the first quarter. We're continuing to do the exploration drilling until then. And we think by the end of the first quarter next year, we will have completed most of the exploratory drilling in the immediate vicinity of Corner Bay. And then we can start infill drilling because coming in with the feasibility study will be another resource update. And we do expect that number at Corner Bay to continue to grow. As a reminder, since we acquired the deposits in 2017, we've quadrupled or more than quadrupled the size of the Corner Bay, nearly quintupled the size of the Corner Bay deposit while keeping the grade at 3%. So we've been extremely successful. Our discovery cost is a little over 2 cents Canadian, and that's not taking into account the cost to the shareholder, which is actually lower because of the flow-through mechanisms that are available to the company.
You highlighted because that's one number that jumped out at me in the press release as well. So 2 cents. Quickly, maybe last question: how do you achieve the 2 cents? There was a bit of resource left, but how easy is it to add more ounces? Or sorry, no, more pounds. We're talking copper.
No, it should be relatively straightforward to do so, especially in that area between the deep lens and the main vein, because essentially with 4 or 5 holes, we're going to be able to add in another 500,000 or 600,000 tons just there. Adding holes down dip will be a little more expensive because they're deep holes, and we're not really focused on that. We think we're going to drill the deeper extents of the deposit sometime in the future, and then really it's more exploration work on these far western veins that I indicated that exist that we haven't really done much work on, but it's very possible that we're able again to take advantage of some historic drill holes that have been done and drill around those, and then when we realize we have a resource, the tons grow pretty quickly because we get great continuity with our deposits at Corner Bay. So to start with, we can spread them out at about 100 to 120 meters, and we're able to tie the veins together like that.
So Devlin, resource updates. So you said you're still drilling, exploratory drilling. Do you expect more results coming out shortly then as well?
Yeah, so the Devlin resource update, we're not drilling at Devlin, and we should have that out in a couple of weeks. And Corner Bay, we continue to drill. Labs have been a little slow for all of us exploration companies in North America, but we do have results coming in, and I would say definitely before the end of the year, we'll have a very interesting suite of new results from Corner Bay showing the potential past the 7.2 million tons that we've just announced.
Fantastic update. I really, really appreciate it. Thanks for running us through the resource update there, or that you put out this morning for the Corner Bay deposit. It's a double from the previous resource, so that's great news in itself. Thanks for joining us. Everybody else, thanks for tuning in. As you can see, we are traveling. We're sitting in a hotel room. We're in the middle of Sweden right now, so I do apologize for the slight audio glitch at the beginning where I forgot to unmute myself because I don't have my usual equipment with me. And I hope it all went well. Follow us on YouTube, follow us on Twitter, leave a comment and leave a like. And if you want to hear more from Doré Copper, just go down to dorecopper.com. And we've done a few interviews with Ernie, so make sure to go through our archives as well and to get the latest and the latest and best from them. So Ernie, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll catch up soon.
My pleasure.